am Euphrosyne, here, goddess of joy, helping you to lighten up from the inside out, and the host of the Lighten Up podcast. Now, this episode is called Navigating Through Uncertain Times. It is part one of a four-part series. And today, the creator, host, and producer of the podcast, Jacquie Hermans, also known as the Joyful Yogini on Reddit and also in her Discord community, she will be interviewing Judith Royle of the Royle Wellness Treatment Centre. Now, this will be a very, very exciting show. So, make sure you stay tuned in. And before we continue on, I want to make sure that you are aware that this episode is sponsored by woodgifts.ca for all of your one-of-a-kind wood turning and wood carved gifts, from beautiful bowls to display on your table, non-toxic spoons to use for your little bitty adorable baby, and even spoons for the kitchen that will not scratch your cookware, that will also look amazing on your beautiful platters, your charcuterie boards, things like that, right? So please check out woodgifts.ca. So now I think it is time to get Jacquie in the house. Jacquie, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I am great, and especially because today we're talking about navigating through uncertain times. And right now, everything is uncertain. Am I right? Of course I'm right.
Yeah, we have so much of the unknown happening in our lives right now.
You're totally right. Well, I don't know if, what would happen if, let's say, I get COVID, or my parents get COVID, or what is the world going to look like 2 weeks from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? How is, business going to change? Are things going to close down again? There is just so much uncertainty in the world, which can definitely bring up fears.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet there's a lot of students out there who are wondering, am I going to have a prom this year? Or what is the second semester going to look like for me? Or people, am I going to get a job? How I have to reinvent myself in order for my business to still fly. So what is that going to look like?
All this unknown stuff, it can really bring up fears. And I, personally, I'm sure most people out there, we do not want to get in the fear place. Because when we do, it lowers our vibration. It slows down the manifesting process. We all want to manifest brilliance in our lives, right? Right. So that fear will bring us down. We want to stay up. And also fear can lower our immune systems too.
Yeah, now more than ever, we need to stay high vibe, right? Because we want to be able to manifest amazingness in our life. And we also want to stay high vibe because we need to keep that immune system strong. And we want to align with our soul's purpose. That soul's purpose is where we're using our skills, where work is play. And we're living our joy.
Right. You are getting a little deep there, Jacquie. I love it.
I guess I was, but you know what? We are going to get a whole lot deeper into this topic.
Okay, I am going to sit back and enjoy the interview and let you take the reins. Go.
Okay, sounds good. So for all you listeners out there, let me tell you about Judith Royle. Judith Royle has had 40 years experience in serving people to become empowered and live life to their highest potential. As part of her journey in acquiring these skills, she was an elementary school principal and as retirement approach, she became a healing practitioner. She is the owner and proprietor of Soul Genesis. That's www.soulgenesis.com, which assists people to connect with their soul's purpose in life. She incorporates a wide range of tools as Reiki master, life coach, NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, meditation, crystals, and sound healing. These modalities are designed to meet the needs of a diverse society. In this age of dynamic change, Judith is a tour guide for people who want to create their heart's desire. So she's also the author of The Soul Already Knows, This is a story of a soul's journey as the thread of past lives creates the notion that in each lifetime we learn from previous lifetimes in the quest for wholeness. As a result of visiting many lifetimes with the express purpose of healing the past, she is able to see her present life with different eyes. Lessons become gifts of opportunity, and she is able to express a whole new level of gratitude for her lifelong journey. Each visit to a lifetime presents a fascinating basis of historical era, geographical location, and cultural implications. Judith, welcome to the Lighten Up podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me back.
Oh, you know what? We are just going to keep on having you back. I love having you on the show. And this is part one of a 4-part series. So this part is called Becoming Your Sovereign Self. And so, Judith, what does it mean to you about what is becoming your sovereign self? What does that mean?
Well, that's a very good question. And in a sentence, I would say it means being and living the best version of yourself. So what does that mean? Well, first you have to decide what you need and what you want. And you need to be specific about that. For example, you may want to say, oh, well, I just want to be happy. I just want peace. But what does that mean to you in your life? What does that look like? And we have to be able to see that in our vision, what our life would be like if we fulfilled our needs and our wants. So it means standing in your power and light and speaking your truth. You know, you'd be surprised how many people have difficulty answering those questions because so many of us have lived lives of caregiver, whether that's within your family, as part of your career, or maybe a role in a relationship. We've just grown up, especially women, with the notion that we are there to look after other people. We are the nurturers. So we found out the hard way, and certainly I have, that we must look after our hearts first, what fuels us, what feeds our souls. That's the best way to serve, if we look after our own needs first. It's like the analogy when you're in an airplane and the stewardess says, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your child. You can't resuscitate a child if you're not alive and well yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's really why it's so important to look after yourself. And you know, when you change and when you start looking after yourself in the way that feeds your soul, everybody else around you changes too.
Yes, absolutely. You've just given me goosebumps. You know what? There's so many mothers out there, or just women in general, and men can definitely fall into this category. And of course, there's people who don't define themselves as the provider that can just be giving, and forget to refuel themselves. And I've been getting better at this, but we all need to put ourselves first. And it's not being selfish. It's being smart, right? Mm-hmm. We need to treat ourselves with love.
What we end up doing to ourselves is, we're depleted of any energy. So how are we going to look after anybody else? And I'll bet you, when you talk to people, certainly when I work with my clients, the first thing I hear is, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. So you're depleted, you're feeling unappreciated and unloved. And you put those three together and you've got an unhappy person.
Yeah. You can throw in resentment into there sometimes too, right?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So Judith, Madam Euphrosyne and I were talking at the top of the show about the unknown factor in everyone's lives right now. So how might these fears, let's say, fears of the unknown, be affecting us? And what does this have to do with becoming your sovereign self?
Well, actually, how these series, a 4-week series, evolved or started was last March. And I looked at my clients, I looked at my friends, my family, and myself, and we were all suffering from this anxiety. And it was because we didn't know what was coming up, and we still don't. But at least we've adjusted to the fact that things are changing. This is the winds of change. So we started the series on really how do we navigate, how do we manage? And we talked about a number of things, such as grounding, having a ritual in the morning, starting your day off on the right foot, that kind of thing. So anything that's going to make you feel that you are connected, because we've been running around with this feeling of disconnect. And that might be, a lot of people say it's nature for them. That's where the expression tree hugger came.
You know, I can definitely relate to the whole anxiety thing. Before COVID even started, I had a lot of anxiety going on, and it was about different areas of my life. But I really think the root of the problem, the root of my anxiety was feeling like I was not going to be good enough.
Yes.
Feeling as, I can't meet people's expectations, and those fears of judgment too, and fears of failure were coming up. And then when COVID hit, it actually took a huge relief off my shoulders. And not everyone's going to be able to relate to this. We all have had our own experiences with COVID coming up, and COVID itself can be extremely scary for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it first hit, I was like, thank goodness I don't have to go to work right now, because I needed self-care. I needed to slow down. I needed to go within. That's when I started getting addicted to yoga, because I needed to breathe and rest. And because I was so depleted. I was just so depleted. And so this COVID time has been helping me to heal. Yet fears of the unknown, for sure, they come up, right? Like, who knows what's going to be happening. And I've needed to, and we'll be talking about some of these strategies that you had touched upon that was part of your series. But yeah, I've needed to use strategies to be able to release the fear, step back into my power, and trust that things are flowing in a way that's going to be for my highest and greatest good. So,
and what you talked about, when you talk about feeling not good enough, I call those the uns. So it's undeserving, unlovable, not good enough. There's a whole list of them. And we all carry one of those way back in the recesses of our unconscious mind. And so when we are challenged, and when we're feeling that we're on that shaky ground, those uns pop up to the surface, just like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. And so with the world, everything, life being uncertain right now, this is the time for all that to pop up. It's like the universe is like, here's all your baggage. You need to look at it. Let's get it all bubbling up to the surface, because it's time to let go of this crap.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Release it. So this is a time of releasing patterns, deleting old patterns. So, Judy, can you go into that a little bit more, how we're closing some doors to the past?
I'm going to try to keep it simple, because I could go on and on and on. As you know, I'm a chatty Cathy. But you heard me use the expression winds of change. And there are three things that we need to be able to use and to be for us to navigate through this time. And the first one is intuition. This is the age of intuition. Creativity is finding new ways of doing things, because the old ways don't work anymore. And curiosity. It's up to us to search out, research new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking. So it all starts with your perspective, because you can't change behavior unless you change your perspective, right? And sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. We just can't seem to get out of our own way. and things happen, and they're subtle. And before you know it, you're asking yourself, how did I get here? Why am I attracting these people into my life? As if it just came to you. And it's because we make choices, and we can choose to stick to the old ways. And how many times have you heard the expression, well, better the devil you know? So it's better to sort of stick to what you know than move forward into a desired life. And we really have to take a deep dive in, as you said, to these patterns of what we say, what we think, and what we do, because we are going to continue to sabotage ourselves. So that's right at the root of it, I think. And what we've talked a lot about in this series is when we actually talked about self-sabotaging, there were people in the series that have done a lot of work, and they're healers themselves. And we actually surprised ourselves with ways in which we self-sabotage that we'd never noticed before.
Yes.
So that's what I mean about taking a deep dive and being honest with yourself.
Yes, I think that is the most important. And in order for us to take that deep dive, it is about looking within. And I know we're going to touch upon this after. It's about really being mindful of the words we say to ourselves. Because everything has energy. Everything we take in has energy.
Absolutely. I love this quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. Remember, she was the one that wrote Eat, Pray, Love?
Oh, I love that book.
Oh, yes. And her quote is, we need to learn how to select our thoughts just the way we select our clothes every day. This is the power that you can cultivate, working on your mind, your thoughts. And then this is the kicker. That should be the only thing you should try to control, because we have no control of anything else. But we can control what we think. And so, you know, you might say, well, the thoughts just come into my head. I can't help it. Well, what you can do is catch yourself when you realize there's a negative tone to what you're thinking, or you're sabotaging yourself, being hard on yourself. And really, that is just replacing that thought with another thought. I always switch to gratitude, because if I'm being grateful, I can't be thinking the other.
Right. You know, what I love about meditation and about yoga is that it gives you the opportunity to be the observer of your thoughts. And it does take practice, but it's about, you keep trying to quiet the mind, but, you know, thoughts are going to pop up, and that's okay. You're not supposed to be hard on yourself when these thoughts come up, whether you're doing yoga or meditation. It's just going, okay, just being the observer. All right, that's where my mind is. That's fine. Let's move on. Let's keep that moving. And like not letting yourself get sucked into it. And then the more you start paying attention to those thoughts and doing it during regular daily practice, right? You can start to get into a pattern of those thoughts changing.
Yes.
Right? Finding a thought that's a little bit softer, a little bit more gentler, a little bit more compassion filled.
Yes. I call that being the silent witness. So when we find ourselves in that situation where we want to point a finger and blame, we take a step outside of ourselves and say, okay, what did I do to create this situation or contribute to this situation? And once you're consciously aware of what you're thinking, saying, and doing, you can do something about it. And you can't change behavior unless you change your perspective. It's like hitting your head against a brick wall. Like Dr. Phil says, so how's that working for you?
Nice. I love it. So, Judith, you have prepared a really powerful meditation for all of us. And it's going to help us to reveal, you spoke about this a little bit earlier, our soul's purpose, the essence of who we are. And so, Judith, do you want to explain what we'll be doing? And then you can take us through this really nice meditation.
Yes, I'd love to. It's one of my favorite things to do is to do meditations with people. Excuse me. So what I do is I start off with relaxation to bring you to a place where you have a still mind and you let those thoughts go. And then I'm going to take you on a journey. And you're going to be able to take a look at what it is that you need to let go of and what you want to replace it with. So it's really allowing your unconscious mind to come to the surface and work with your conscious mind in terms of what the next steps that you need to take. And towards the end of the meditation, I'll leave you with that, and I will play my singing bowl. So if you hear a strange noise, that's what it is. And usually it comes across quite beautifully, even on Zoom.
Nice. Okay, good.
And then at the end, I usually ask the participants to just come out of the altered state enough so that they can record their experience in a journal or on a piece of paper. So it's really important to be able to reflect on that.
Okay, so I think it would be a good time for our listeners, if you wish, you can pause this podcast, or if you're watching on video, you can pause the YouTube video and get yourself something to write with. So if you have a journal, pencil, maybe get yourself set up where you can be really comfortable, whether you're going to be lying on the ground or sitting or on the couch. You need a pillow, blanket, get yourself all organized. And this meditation will be approximately, Judith, do you think about 10 minutes in length?
Yes, and then with the bowl, maybe 15 minutes all told.
Okay, so about approximately 15 minutes. So get yourself all set up, and then you can restart the podcast or the video. And then at the end, we'll also give you some time to be able to journal.
Pause the podcast now.
So I would ask them to connect with my energy and just pay attention to my voice. Even if there are other sounds in the background, just focus on my voice.
Okay, and I just want to say to everyone during this meditation, if you hear my dogs barking at any time, I do apologize for that, but you can also use that sound to use it as a signal to tune into where your thoughts were at. And if you did have thoughts coming into your head at that time, just be that observer and then let those thoughts keep on floating. So
and I will add too that I've got a dog too.
Okay, perfect.
All righty.
Okay.
All right. So I would just ask you to close your eyes and see, sense, and feel completely relaxed. That's right. Look at your mind and let it transform into a serene blue summer sky. It's like you see it all from below. So pretend you're laying on your back in a beautiful meadow of flowers, and you're looking up at the sky and at the white clouds, and all your thoughts are the white clouds moving in it. Let a gentle wind to move all the white clouds towards the left until all of them are out of sight. When the last cloud disappears to the left, an inner sound will start to vibrate from your middle area of your chest, where your heart is. So just tune into that sound that's vibrating in the middle of your chest. And even if you don't feel it, pretend, or what would that feel like if you did have a sound? Now feel or see where your heart is, or listen to the inner sound that comes from the middle of your chest, and listen to the sound of the heart and put your attention on it. It might be a vibration, It might be a sound, or it might be the beat of your heart. At the beginning, you can clearly hear the heartbeat, the pulsation of the heart. Then the heartbeat will start to fade, and the vibration will become stronger and stronger. Intuitively, you need to follow the vibration. You might feel like falling from a cliff. You might get dizzy, but it will be a very pleasant feeling. You will fall inside of yourself. Let it happen without resistance or anticipation. It will be something irresistible that will attract you towards that direction. Feel, sense, imagine, or think about what that would be like. Like a cosmic magnet. Time and space becomes obsolete. Allow yourself to pass thousands of stars and lights in a few moments. Suddenly, you come to a sudden stop, a gentle end to the journey. Look for colors, light, and energy, the presence of other beings perhaps. Move freely, as if there was no gravity. Now you can see anything, just by intention. You can communicate anything to anybody, anywhere. So I want you to think of rewriting your story as a second chance, a kind of regenesis, to consciously enter into a co-creation of an improved, more vital, more creative story for the years ahead. Now, in this higher realm, see the vast domain of all possibilities before you and begin to engage those possibilities in the form of a new plan for yourself, a new pattern for your life to come. Feel this new life coming toward you, rising out of the frequency waves, a potent, positive, and creative tide, carrying the elements of your new story. See it right there before you, inviting your engagement. Do that now. Now begin to sense and consider what this new story of your life will be. Perhaps you'll choose a new career, a new art form to learn and explore, a furthering of some skill or activity you've only dabbled in the past, new friends and relationships that will grant you the full range of emotional expression. Perhaps there are adventures in store, visits to strange lands, meetings with new cultures and peoples that astonish and inspire you as they bring you more experience, more life, more delight, and more learning. Perhaps you see a new story in which your spiritual life becomes more prominent, where you discover sources and resources that gift you with beauty, meaning, and purpose. Allow these and so much more to arise, along with the belief that these wonderful changes are not only possible, but probable. Try each possibility out on the screen of your mind. Run a movie and choose those that resonate with you. See them, feel them, and above all, know them as potential realities that can manifest into the physical space, time, world where you currently reside. And know too that an infinite field of possibilities is drawn into your vision and is adding elements, coincidences, resources to the vision, as well as people, ideas, and opportunities to help you in the realization of your new story. So pay attention in your daily life to those coincidences, resources, people, ideas, and opportunities. They're there. This is the interdependent co-rising of you and the universe together. And the more you use this exercise, the more your new story will grow in you. It's like practicing, creating a new story. And eventually to the point where what began as an imaginative possibility will become an actualizing probability. And then, as opportunities arrive that begin to fit into the new story you have set in motion, meet each of those opportunities with deep gratitude and joy for the gifts that they bring you. And I'll leave that with you. This was designed to help give you a powerful new perspective on how rapidly you can create the conditions for profound changes to happen in yourself and in your life. And this is from Jean Houston's online training called Unlock Your Quantum Powers. So thanks to her, this is a beautiful meditation. So just as you come out of your reverie, just enough to record your experience.
Pause the podcast now so you can take the time to journal.
Judy, well, thank you so much for that.
My honor and pleasure.
That was a really wonderful experience. And I know everyone will have their own unique experience.
Yes.
And they're welcome to listen to this meditation as many times as they want and just see how much deeper and deeper that they might go into it, or the different experiences they might have every time they do the meditation.
That often happens. And some people fall asleep. And what you need to understand is the unconscious mind has very big ears. It's all going in. It's just consciously, you're not aware of it. But maybe the next time you will stay awake and you'll hear it on a different level. Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'd love to share some of what I journaled about when we finished, and I took my thumbs off of my forehead. It felt like my forehead was on fire. And it felt like it was just heating up, heating up, heating up. It was, I had a little campfire going on in my third eye. It was really interesting, and it still feels extremely warm right now. but it's
I
it's
would
not
venture to
down.
guess that you have moved a higher level of consciousness.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps.
Hmm. And that's what it's all about.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. And that just reminded me of something else that I had during the meditation. I saw myself in Africa and I was just playing with these children. We were all just laughing and playing and just having so much fun. And it gave me goosebumps all over my body, and it made my eyes all tear up. Like it was just such a wonderful feeling. It was
Probably
amazing.
a past life.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Okay.
isn't that lovely that you were shown a past life where you had so much love around you?
Yeah.
And joy, that's the word that comes to mind.
It was
Joy.
so
It was just
joyful.
a blissful experience. Yes.
Yeah. It was
Oh,
pure
aren't you
play.
lucky? Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting teary eyed now. Well, thank you so much, Judith. That was an absolutely amazing experience. So, Judith, you had mentioned prior to this podcast that your heart has a brain. And during that meditation, I felt like I was kind of getting a taste of that. But would it be relevant for you right now to explain about the context of how your heart has a brain and what we're all currently going through?
Well, to begin with, what people used to call woo-woo and out there somewhere is being proven by science. And so I was looking at Greg Braden's research and the Heart Math Institute. And what they have found is that, of course, the mind has a brain, but the heart has a brain as well. And it operates independently of the mind brain. And actually, it makes sense because and a good example of how it works independently is when you have precognition, when you somehow know what's coming up. Your heart actually foresees that or processes it. That's the word I'm looking for. Processes it before the brain does. So that's why we talk about connecting the heart with the mind. So yes, we go by our intuition to make decisions, but we also need our mind to do the research, to look at all avenues and which would be the best for us. And then we rely on our gut feeling to tell us which way to go. So it takes both together. When you just go by your heart alone, while you're flying by the seat of your pants, which I have done in the past.
Yes, me too. I'm just going to trust. Let's just go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for explaining that. So during these times, we need to be resilient. And Judith, can you define the term resilient and how we can all become more resilient?
This came up with one of our sessions. It was one of my favorite ones. And what I always do is I draw an oracle card, and we discuss its meaning. And that actually sort of leads us into the theme of the whole session. And of course, the session it was called Resilience, and the card was maturity. So when you put the two together, resilience is actually maturity. So what I mean by that is it's the ability to be creative, to find new ways of doing things that will work. It's like re-engineering to access what you want to do, and how you're going to bring resolution to a problem. So it's just opening your mind and being creative. Whereas before, we were very strategic and we planned things to the nth degree, and this will work and that won't work. It's not going to work, that method, in the future. So that's intuition. That's creativity. And intuition, this is the age of intuition, and I just explained how you can use intuition so that you're connecting the heart and the mind. And by being grateful, you're actually being more receptive to doing things differently. So It's just opening your mind and your heart and saying, there's always a way around this. What can I do differently that's going to get me what I need? And I'm going to be able to go with the flow, because that too we have to do, is go with the flow. The more you take a type A person, and they tend to be the perfectionists, can you imagine how difficult this last 6 months has been for them? Because they're used to being in control of everything. And then the last thing is curiosity. So that is the ability to do the research and to change your perspective. Because as I said before, you can't change behavior unless you change perspective. And so you actually can find and solve problems that you thought there weren't any solutions to.
Okay.
So that in a nutshell is resilience. It's maturity.
Right. You know, I feel like this whole COVID time has really helped me to be able to let go of control. And the universe has brought up, you know, different examples, different scenarios where normally I would get really anxious and scared and angry and frustrated. And I've needed to be able to work through those. And I was consciously trying to adjust my approach, trying to change my thought patterns about a situation. So let's say a technological issue came up and it was preventing me from uploading what I wanted to upload. And so I want to do that. My plan was to do that today. I want to do it today. But the more anger or frustration that I allowed to well up within me, the harder it got and the more exhausted I got and the more frustrated I got.
Exactly.
So it was forcing me to be able to let go. And then I would go back the next day and say, okay, let's see how this happens this time. Still was not working, but then I was better at, I'm going to step away. The answers are going to come. Things will resolve itself. I'm waiting for divine timing. Try it another day. In some cases, in one particular scenario, I think it took about 7 days for a tech issue to be resolved, but it finally resolved. And by the end of those 7 days, I was more at peace. And then when a similar type of situation happened, you know, maybe several weeks later, I approached it in an all new way.
Absolutely. And the other thing I have found is whenever I teach something, you can bet your bottom dollar that following that session, the universe is saying, really? Well, let's see how you walk your talk. So whatever you're going to espouse, make sure that you're walking the talk, and that's part of your values and your belief system.
Yeah.
Because
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because this is the time when people who have not walked their talk are being exposed.
Right. You know what, Judy, this is a little bit off topic, but for some reason, I feel like singing an Annie song. Because you're talking about bet your bottom dollar. Like, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun.
Well, I'm not going to join you in that.
It's a good thought. You brought a good childhood memory of Annie. I was even in the play. So,
actually, you brought up a good point. We need to bring up that innocence and wonder and awe of the world.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those things that make us giggle. Those things that that's just so fun. And finding the fun in even just the mundane tasks that you would normally do.
That is pivotal, is keeping a sense of humor during all of this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Judy, that's where I want to go, because I know that's going to be one of your points. Because, I just want to find my question here, because I want to make sure I don't skip over anything. So if there was only one thing we had the energy to focus on right now, what that could help us through these changing times, what would that be? And this is a little bit of a recap from what we spoke about before, and then we're also going to get into the humor and all that.
Well, I'm sure you've heard this before, and I may sound like a broken record.
Nope, say it.
Um,
Let's hear it.
I believe it is gratitude. And I'll tell you why. This was years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I was going through a challenging time. And somebody had said, well, keep a gratitude journal. But what I did was I took it one step further. And I made a commitment to go on Facebook every morning for 122 days. Why I picked that number, I don't know. And each morning I would write 3 things that I was grateful for. And with small things, like it was a great cup of coffee. You can see a sign up here on my wall. It was the first thing I bought when I moved to Newfoundland. And it's begin each day with a grateful heart. And so I used to open up the door and yell out the door, "Good morning, Newfoundland. I love you." So as I was laying in bed in the morning, while I was thinking about what I was going to write as what I was grateful for, that's what I was concentrating on, not the negative stuff. And so it finally got that if I missed a day, I would have people say, "So what are you grateful for today?" So it really brought me out of a slump, and it was just by appreciating the little things.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find if you can start your day off with being gratitude or being in gratitude, or at least a positive thought about your day, looking forward to something about your day, or setting an intention, a really great intention for your day. It's just starting your day off with good, positive, high vibe energy. And then you just give yourself the goal to stay high vibe for as long as you can. You know, if you can get through the whole day being high vibe and having positive thoughts, and you had mentioned thoughts before too. Thoughts are so important. So minding those thoughts throughout the day so we can keep our energy as high vibe as possible.
And you brought up another point. The other thing we have to keep in mind is that this comes in waves. Some people have called it a tsunami.
Okay.
But there'll be a wave that'll come in and you'll say, "Oh, I've got this. Oh, yes, I'm grateful for this." And you've got that high vibe. And then all of a sudden something happens and it brings you down again. We have to be able to go with the ebb and flow of what a wave looks like. We can't stay up there all the time. And it's not healthy for us to stay in the trough of a wave.
Right.
So if you could just remember, this is waves. We can't maintain a high vibe all the time. We're human. There are things out there that we have no control over.
Yes.
But at least we know it's not going to last. You know, the saying, "This too shall pass."
Right. And I think it's important for when those waves come of, let's say it's more of a heavier wave that comes in. I think it's really important for us to embrace our emotions, right? Because emotions, you said we're human. We are human, and we need to embrace all of us. So even if all of a sudden we're feeling down, or you want to call it sad, or maybe we're feeling a little bit resentful or a bit judgy, or we're scared, you know, whatever those emotions come in, we need to embrace that about ourselves, because it's our body's way of communicating with us, saying, "Hey, just pay attention to here. This is something that feels a bit uncomfortable for you. Just observe this right now." And so it's giving you a chance to tune into yourself, get to know yourself better. And when you're that observer, you can then observe those thoughts and emotions, just keep on moving through. And then the next wave might be a little bit softer, a little bit gentler, a little bit lighter, and see it coming in.
You said that beautifully.
Oh, well, thank you. Sometimes that stuff just comes out of my mouth.
That's the best stuff.
Now, Judy, when you and I were talking in preparation for this, you had mentioned that sometimes people can wake up and they start their day off in a state of doom and gloom. And maybe you had a terrible dream too, or a terrible sleep. You had an awful sleep. So you're like, "Oh, no, you wake up, I'm going to be tired. And, everything's going to go crappy today." I'm going to be in traffic. It's just that state is going to amplify and going to attract more of that doom and gloom,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Well, I'll speak on a personal level here. Certainly, I have awakened with that feeling of doom and gloom from time to time. We're humans.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have found that will get me back on the track, that's what we want to do. We want to get back on track of having a day that we're moving forward, not stagnating somewhere or stuck. And that is, I have a routine, a kind of ritual in the morning.
Okay.
And that could be affirmations. It could be a meditation. There are all kinds of meditations out there on YouTube. I did a whole segment on Deepak Chopra's meditations on hope. That was amazing. And then if you're going to have your coffee, what are you going to have with your coffee? Are you going to have your orange? Are you going to take a look outside? There's just this little routine that you go through that's going to get you back on track. It's something familiar to you that makes you feel good. Nice. So you do whatever makes you feel good.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something that...
And it doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be difficult.
Right. Even turning on fun music in the morning, music that if you had a music list or a music mix that just makes you jive, makes you be happy. It just feels good. So you can play that music mix to get that little skip in your step in the morning.
The one I play periodically is Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Izzy.
Nice.
You know, the Hawaiian fellow who played the ukulele. He's passed now. But it's just a wonderful sunny kind of song.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I like James Brown. I feel good. I knew that.
But that's a good one too.
Yeah. Or I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night or a good day.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that too. Yeah. Because I find if I start my day off in a state of doom and gloom, I just end up becoming a crap magnet for the rest of the day. End up attracting more heaviness, and other people who are in a bad mood, and people are going to cut me off when I'm driving. So yeah, doing stuff in the morning. And I just want to say that for those watching the video, if at any point I have some green kale in my teeth, I'm so sorry. I'm having my breakfast at the same time, and I just started feeling something in my teeth there. I don't know. I like being
I can't see anything.
Okay, good. But yeah, so I don't want to be that crap magnet. So for me, it's so important to find a way to use those tools like you were talking about, Judith, to be able to get ourselves in that good space. And even at the end of the day, or even throughout the day, doing a little emotional check-in. You know, you can check in the morning, how am I feeling? At lunchtime, check in, how am I feeling? And at the end of the day, check in. And before I go to bed, I like to say, like you were doing in the morning, I like to find at least 3 things that I'm grateful for the day. And that helps me to be able to go to bed in a good, positive space, which will help me to have a better sleep too.
Yes. And I think the best part is my pooch, my Bichon Frise. His nickname is Mr. Furry Pants because he's got quite the personality. So he brings the humor out in me.
Nice. Okay, so you were talking about sense of humor, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I said, yeah, we're going to get to this. So this is perfect timing for that because, we need to laugh more. We need to embrace ourselves and even those embarrassing moments.
Well, look at the name of your business, Lighten Up. That's exactly what we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, sometimes we just take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
And, you know, we try so hard, and the harder we try, the more we block ourselves. Yeah. So the whole thing is to stay in the flow. And a sense of humor will uplift you faster than anything else. And laughter is the best medicine. You've heard that expression.
And it truly is, because when you laugh, you're creating positive high vibe energy, and it fuels every single cell in your body. So it's like you, instead of needing to go to the spa for a day, you laugh and all of your cells are being bathed with healing energy, which is just so powerful. You know, my mom has been so great at teaching me to be able to laugh at myself, because she always shares her embarrassing moments, and she has a ton of them. And she taught me to be able to share my embarrassing moments. So I think,
well, that has come quite naturally to me. I've been a prankster all my life, and I've always looked at the funny side of things, even in horrific situations. After I let the dust settle, I can find something funny about it. And as a kid, my mother used to say to me all the time, Judy, you stop that right now or you're going to end up crying.
oh.
That was when I was pushing the envelope thinking I was really funny, and I wasn't.
Okay. Oh, I can see you as being that little prankster, stirring up stuff to get people going. I love it. And I love watching funny movies and TV shows.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, I love watching Modern Family. That's to me, that's just such a funny show.
Lucille Ball is my favorite.
Oh, nice. Oh, I used to love watching the Carol Burnett show with my parents.
Oh, yes.
Love that.
Tim Conway. Oh, he just broke me up.
Oh, yes. With his old man routine.
Yes.
Coming.
And the dentist scenario.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a classic.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess I could say I idolize them. My humor is inspired from the Carol Burnett show and SCTV. Yeah, for sure. So, Judith, is there anything else you want to share that can help us during these times, these uncomfortable times for many people out there?
I think the bottom line is, you follow all those steps that, we talked about. We threw things out, and whatever resonates with you, take to heart. And if it doesn't resonate with you, leave it. And always keep the thought in the back of your mind. And this is what I do when I made those trips down to Sedona from Newfoundland. And I was absolutely terrified of getting lost, but I really wanted to go there. So that's what I had to do, is drive with the dog. And just keep saying to yourself, I've got this. And you have got it more than you think you do. And you're stronger than you think you are. So give yourself a chance to shine.
Yes. All of those challenges that we've gone through in our lives.
Yes.
We've gone through 100% of them. We've gotten through the other side.
Yes.
So that helps us to remind ourselves that we are so strong.
Exactly.
Now, Judith, you have some affirmations that can be really helpful. Will you be posting those somewhere? Because
yes, I can send them to you, and you can post them with your podcast if you like.
Okay. Yes. Amazing. I'll put them on my Instagram maybe as well, and in my Discord community, I can post them up there. Because I will say,
I always have a proviso if you're going to use affirmations. Some people may not agree with me, but I believe that if you repeat an affirmation that you don't believe, you're actually installing the negative thought.
Okay.
So let's say an affirmation is, I feel safe at all times. And maybe that is your issue, is that you don't feel safe and secure. So what you can say is, I am working towards feeling safe at all times because I know somebody's got my back, or something like that.
Okay. So it really.
So whatever you don't truly believe within yourself, you say you're working on it.
Okay.
Which you are.
Yeah, I love that. Now, we also, during this time, some people who are listening here or watching might have heard the term being grounded. We need to be grounded. And you had mentioned to me prior to doing this podcast that grounding is so important right now. Can you explain to everyone, because some people might not even know what it means. So can you explain what grounding means?
For some of us, I mean, we're all different and unique, but for some of us, we operate from the heart chakra up. And so we're out there somewhere. And what we really need to do is be grounded. In other words, grow roots from the bottom of our feet right into Mother Earth. And in that way, when we're grounded, we can pretty well deal with anything that comes up. But if we're off somewhere and all of a sudden we're hit with something, well, what do we do? Because, we're not even in our bodies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
And there's lots of ways to feel grounded. There's you can repeat mantras, as I said, meditation, communicate with nature, go out in nature. And I went through a period where I wasn't able to walk because I had 2 knee replacements and a hip replacement. So I would look out and I would imagine myself doing it. And you see, whatever you imagine, your heart processes as you actually have done it.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can't do this all year round, like in the 4 seasons, but when I feel like I need to ground, I'll go outside without my shoes on, without the socks.
Right.
Pardon me. And just feel the grass under my feet or the soil under my feet. And I can even picture roots, as you had mentioned, coming out of my feet. And then visualize that I'm breathing into Mother Earth. And there's all those beautiful, the earth is full of gorgeous healing crystals and nutrients. So I can visualize those nutrients coming in through my roots and up and nourishing all of my cells.
Now, speaking of crystals,
yeah.
That's another way you can ground is tourmaline, black obsidian, jet. Anything that's very dark is very grounding. Hematite.
Nice.
And, carrying something like that in your pocket, or sometimes I put it in my bra, it'll keep you grounded as well.
Yeah, I've done that before and then totally forget that it's in my bra, get undressed, and then crystal goes flying. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that one. But it's
I
good.
did that once and scared the dog. He just about bounced off the wall.
What's happening?
They're shooting all over the place.
So something else I want to mention for grounding is yoga can be amazing. Yes. So there's different grounding poses such as Tadasana, which is mountain pose, and you can picture those roots coming out of your feet. Or I find even eating more root vegetables can help. Carrots, parsnips, beets, things like that can help.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Judith, do you have any last thoughts for our listeners or our viewers?
Well, I think I sort of capsulized it before, and that is to maintain your sense of humor, be resilient, tell yourself you've got this, stay grounded, and it'll all come together. You know the saying, it'll be okay? It will.
Nice. Yes, it will. There's a song there. There is a song that I wanted to start singing that everything's gonna be okay. It's not totally coming, but it's kind of in there. So if you got it in, just kind of go with that.
Maybe you're missing your new career. Like
yeah.
I said, we may be entertaining different lines of work.
Maybe lounge singer is where I should go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Judith,
I'll be your backup singer.
Okay, wonderful. My doo-wop girl.
Yeah.
Well, Judith, thank you so much for being on the show. As always, it's great to have you, and I really look forward to having the second installment of this 4-part series. So do you know what that second installment, oh, you do, the name of that second installment. Why don't you tell our listeners and viewers?
Well, there were 4 of those series that we've done. I talked about being your sovereign self. Well, the last one that we did was thriving being our sovereign selves. So it's one thing to know or to be able to stand in your sovereign self, but how do you thrive? How do you maintain that?
Okay, so that's what we'll do for part 2.
Yes, we're going to be talking about belief systems that don't work for us.
Okay,
And
love it.
the meditation will have to do with releasing and letting go of some of that stuff.
Okay, Judith, I am excited and ready for the next installment. So for all of you listeners or viewers out there, if you would like to contact Judith, you can either reach her at www.judithroyle.com. That is JUDITHROYLE.com.
Info at Royle, ROYLE, treatment wellness.com.
Beautiful. And another website you can visit for Judith is soulgenesis.com. So thank you for all of our amazing listeners, and a special thanks to our sponsor, woodgifts.ca, for your one-of-a-kind wood turning and wood carved gifts. Madam Euphrosyne, thank you for giving me the reins of the show, and I'm going to hand them back to you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Judith. And thank you to you, all of our listeners and viewers. You help give this podcast the energy it needs to help spread joy and inspire wellness. So thank you so much for you. And thank you again to our sponsor, woodgifts.ca, for all of your one-of-a-kind wood turning and wood carved gifts. Now, please follow us on YouTube, The Joyful Yogini, Yogini, The Joyful Yogini on YouTube. Also, follow us on Reddit. Reddit is Reddit. And on there, we are called The Joyful Yogini. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. From my light, Jackie's light, Judith's light, to yours, everyone. Namaste. Enjoy this quick blooper.
And then I saw some different, my dog is, sounds like coughing up some hair or something. It's quite a lovely sound. So sorry for that. I might hork a loogie myself just to get into the same. Are you done? Okay. I think he's done.